Hello everyone, my name is Katina, the creator of Live, Life, Learn, and thank you so much for joining me again today. So let me just give you guys a little bit of an update. I hope that you can hear me better now. My sound quality was trash on my first 3 videos, I want to say, but I did a little research and I went out to Best Buy to find me a little microphone right here that I can just attach to my whatever I got on, so they will pick up the sound quality a little bit better. And I'm super excited because it sounds much better. They do have, of course, better quality mics that you can attach to your phone, your iPhones, your Android. I have an iPhone that will increase the sound quality a whole lot better, but I'm on a budget and I think this one was $30. And so I'm excited about this particular mic. I forgot the name of it, but I'll put it in the description. And I also got me some little camera remote starters, or whatever you want to call these little guys, to pair with my cell phone, so that I won't have to get up and press video record on my phone. Now I can start it from this little gadget. I had one of these, but they so fragile, and I had broke mine. It came with my tripod camera that I ordered, or actually tripod lights, yes, that I ordered from Amazon, but they're so fragile and they break so easily. So I ordered a pair, and it was only $10 from Amazon. So I'm super excited. Now I got a backup, which is exciting. So that's that. I wanted to get that out the way. I hope this quality is better than my previous videos. I was excited to get this microphone piece. The cord is rather long. It's like 6 feet, so that's great. But yes, that was $30 and this was $10. So I spent roughly almost $40 on trying to get my sound quality right on a budget. Okay, so now that I got that out the way, I want to talk about my mid-year debt elimination plan for 2021. So typically I try to start these sort of plans in the beginning of the year, but I did not this year. I just kind of went on about my days or whatever. I had thought about a debt elimination plan for 2021, but I wasn't really like ready yet. I didn't actually get ready and take a debt elimination plan seriously until when was that? May of this year. It just hit me all of a sudden that it was time to be serious and be consistent about eliminating my debt. So I finally sat down and began to write out, what I wanted to see happen this year in terms of working on my finances and what I wanted to eliminate in terms of debt elimination. So I knew that I wanted to work on my credit cards because I had all of these cards and it just was so stressful. And I'm going to do a video about the number of credit cards that I have accumulated and why it was so bad for me. I want to talk in depth about how I acquired these cards, the why behind the cards, and why it became so dangerous for me financially. But that's another video that I'm excited to share with you. But I want to talk about how I decided to tackle my my mid-year debt elimination plan. It was just, again, this concept was so sudden. It was not anything that I had planned out. I thought about it, but not with like conviction. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was something like, I really need to get rid of this credit card debt because it's driving me crazy. Like, it's weighing on me so much. And it was so stressful for our household budget. And not just that, like, it became stressful physically as well and emotionally. Like, to be under this debt was just so hard for me. And not just for me, but also for my husband, and things like that trickle down. They inadvertently affect the closest person to you. So that would be my son and my husband. So, you would tend to kind of like, for me at least, speaking for myself, I can't speak for anyone else, but I would kind of be really snappy, all of a sudden, and I would be from one extreme to the next really, really quickly. I always say that I don't have a lot of patience, but I am tolerant, but my tolerance is only for just a little bit. So I have to work on my patience, but I would just immediately just snap and I would get upset. I would just say whatever in an instant. And that's just because of the stress that I was under with this debt, okay? And that's not my only stressor, but it was a big stressor to have this enormous amount of debt that I had created through credit cards, you know, and I wanted to separate my credit card debt from the rest of my debt. Now, that's up for debate on whether or not you should do something like that, but I know for me, you have to do what works for you. And I knew that the credit card debt was over $14,000, and I needed to somehow just simply focus in on that debt and eliminating that particular debt category of credit cards, and then focus on other things as well. So in terms of what was a priority. So I decided that in May that I was going to make a real commitment this time around, like an honest commitment on eliminating my debt. And I really decided that this was the time. Like I felt in my spirit that this was the time. And I felt like I really believed that, you know, God was like, this is it. So with me, what I have learned is that I was saying in past times that I wanted to get out of credit card debt. You know, I would always tell my husband and, you know, and just make comments to my friends about how I wanted to get out of credit card debt and how much of a headache it was and how much of a stressor it was. And I would just, you know, talk about it. But here's the problem, you guys, and this is so important to catch. This is an important tip to catch. It's very important that your words line up with your actions. And so what I realized, what became revealed to me, if you will, was that my words was not in line with my actions. They did not connect with one another. They actually was running very opposite of each other. So although I was saying and proclaiming to myself and my husband and friends and families that I wanted to get out of debt. I was tired of being in debt. I'm so sick of having to take all my paycheck and throw it at bills or you know, pay the minimum amount on bills. I was complaining about that and stressed about that and saying that I wanted to get out of debt. But however, I realized that my words was not in line with my actions. So what I mean by that is, although I was saying I'm getting out of debt, I want to get out of debt, I'm stressed out, I was still using credit cards, right? I was still using my credit cards. I was still spending money unnecessarily. You know, anytime I got a little increase on my credit card, I would utilize it. I would use it. Or either I would be at someplace like, let me just see an example. Express. I have an Express credit card, right? I love Express. So I was shopping there constantly. But I knew that I was at my limit with my Express card. But guess what, y'all? I was still at the register trying to use my at the limit credit card. Or either it was over the limit. And you know what happened? A lot of times they will let me go beyond my limit, okay? They will let me go beyond my limit. So I found myself using, going over the limit even more than what I was, just to get a couple of things, right? So that's an example of how my words, I want to get out of debt, was not in line with my actions. Here I am saying that's what I want to do, but you can find me in the line at Express trying to buy some stuff I don't need. So that's what I mean by that. But this time, this year, it just felt different. Like it felt very different. Like inside, I was exhausted. Mentally, I was exhausted with this debt bubble that was over my head, right? And I was like, I really got to get a plan going and I have to stick with it and I have to be very consistent, something that I'm learning to do. I'm not the most consistent person, but it is a trait that I am working to acquire, okay? It's a day by day for me, okay? Every day gets better. So I'm working on being more consistent in what I say that I want to do, and literally making sure that my words line up with my actions. Okay, that's very important that that happens. And hey, I'm new at this. I have to remind myself this all the time. And when I catch myself doing something that is opposite to my the words that I have said, if my actions are opposite of that, I try to correct myself. Now, I'm not a successful at correcting myself all the time, but I really try to do that. So back to my plan. So I decided to go ahead and literally write this plan out in May, and literally finally put some action behind the plan. So the plan was this. I was like, okay, I'm going to literally list all of my credit cards on Google spreadsheet, and I'm going to write the interest rates, my balances, and my how much my credit limit was, and the due dates. So that took some time because I want to say I have 13 or 14 credit cards. I lost count. So I decided that this was the time for me to do that, and so I went on ahead and started the process of putting all of my credit cards down on this spreadsheet. It took about 3 days, to be quite honest with you. It took some time, and I didn't realize that. But as I began to note all of that information on the spreadsheet, I was like, oh girl, this girl, damn, like this is a lot. You know, this is a lot. It's one thing to know that you have all of this debt. It's another thing to see it on paper, okay? It is another thing to see it on paper. So I was like, damn, like this is a lot, right? So I decided to look at my debts after I got them all written down and decide how I was going to tackle it, right? So now I've been down the road before of trying to eliminate debt. I've done that before, and I was somewhat successful, but I wasn't committed. So because I wasn't committed to it, I found myself back in the same old hole again, meaning that I would pay off a few credit cards to zero balances. Like for an example, Sephora is a good example of that. I have a Sephora credit card. So I remember paying that down like 3 times and running it back up to the limit 3 times. It was a mess, right? So I went on ahead, and this time was different though. So I felt like, okay, for some reason, I'm feeling very different about this time, and I feel more committed. I'm really ready. I'm very more focused. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So that's when I decided that in order for me to achieve this goal of my mid-year debt elimination plan for 2021 and being serious about it and making sure that my words aligned with my actions, that I needed to find a second job in order to achieve that. And so indeed I did that. I found a second job very quickly to exercise that goal. And so I began my second job in June. I had my debt elimination plan not only on Google Docs, I had it in my phone. I got it in a planner. So I had it in several places. I printed it out. So I just needed to have it in more than one place. I even downloaded Google Docs, Google Sheets on my phone so that I could see it all the time. So I can remind myself that this is ultimately, this is the reality of things, and what I want to see is zero balances on every single one of these cards. So I decided that in order for me to achieve that goal, it was going to require some sacrifice, and I decided that once I accepted this job and committed to this job, that I was going to take my entire check from the second job plus some from my first job, and also, and just simply pay the debt down. So how did I do that? Okay, so I did the snowball effect. With that. I decided that I was going to take the card. Sorry, you guys, I have all these reminders that pop up on my phone. So I decided that I was going to take the card with the smallest balance and work my way to paying that off first, right? So I had several cards that had like a $500 credit limit, but they were, again, y'all, they were all over the limit, okay? They were all over the limit. So I took the ones that have even smaller balances than that. For an example, I think my Sephora credit card limit is $250. Let me see. Yes, and then my Victoria's Secret credit card limit is $350. And after that, my Ulta credit card limit is $500. So you get the point. I started with the smallest one. That would be Sephora. So I decided, because it was all of these, y'all, was over the limit. Okay, so I decided to start with Sephora first, which had the smallest credit limit up to $50, and start the process of paying them off using the snowball method. I listed them in order in which I was going to pay them, and that's how I started the journey of my debt elimination. Was you have to put it all down on paper. I would recommend that if this is something that you want to do, I highly recommend that actually if you're tackling debt, that you really want to get a debt elimination plan together. That is so important, so that you can, see your journey along the way. Excuse me, so you can know where you're starting and know where you're at and know what your ultimate end goal is going to be. I think that's extremely important, is to focus on that. So I decided that I was going to, start with the smallest, Sephora. So I was able to pay Sephora off. Actually, you know what? I was super excited in June. So I got my full check in June, paid every 2 weeks. And I was actually able to pay off Sephora, Victoria's Secrets, and who else? Victoria's Secret, Sephora, and I think I was able to pay off Ulta. I got so many cards, it's ridiculous. Those 3 in the month of June. Yes, I was able to pay off those 3 in the month of June. I was busting my butt to pay off those 3 cards. So I knew how many hours I needed to work at this job. This was the second job of mine. I knew how much money I needed. And so it just so happened that when I got paid in the month of June on my second job, I had enough money to pay off 3 cards in the month of June. And then it was on from there. I was like, yes, thank God. I was so motivated. After those 3 was paid off, I was actually motivated. 1 was paid off. But I needed to have that motivation so that I could, just really encourage myself to keep going. I had to be my biggest cheerleader. I had to talk to myself about keep going and keep moving. I had to always keep my goals ahead of me and in front of me. And it just got the pressure, the stress, it lessened. It's not by a lot, but the credit of the being in debt stressor, what I found being reduced little by little. Okay, and it's gotten better. Okay, it's not gone completely, because I still have several credit cards to pay off, and the sacrifice that I'm making to pay them off it's a lot. So taking my entire check from this job each time I get paid, and deciding who was next in line for being paid off, it's a challenge. It's not easy. You have to be committed, right? You have to be committed to doing that if you want to get where you want to go, right? So there's a saying that dreams don't work unless you do. So I decided that I have to work in order to see this debt elimination become a reality. And for me, it took quite a while for me to come to this point in my life where I was just tired as hell of this debt. Like, I got tired of being stressed out. I got tired of snapping at people. Shoot, I got tired of people looking at me like I'm damn crazy. Like, why is she snapping so much? And it was really because the stress of debt and other things, but debt was the driving force for me, because I knew that it was just taking so much from me. It was taking not just from me, but my family. Like, it was really preventing us from doing things, right? Because you get paid and you're like, damn, I got to pay all these bills. And at the time, I was paying just the minimum amounts on my credit cards. But with that being said, y'all, I was also going back to these credit cards, using them like cash. Okay, I was heavily dependent on these credit cards as an option, a cash option. Not thinking about the consequences. It was more of the instant gratification that I could go get something. That was really what it was all about. And I was thinking in terms of these cards being like cash. Unfortunately, that's just the real. That's the real. So I was thinking like this, this ain't no big deal. I wasn't thinking about the interest rate being 29.9% because that's pretty much what all my cards are sitting at, all my credit cards. It's very high interest, right? It's very high interest. And so I thought about it. I'm like, damn, like you just bought this eyeliner for $20 and you got other stuff, bounce stuff that you purchased that are on this credit card, and you've been paying on, all this interest you're paying towards these things that you purchased, and it's not even worth it. So I had concluded that it was just time, y'all. And it just so happened that the time for me was mid-year of 2021. I decided that it was time. I had to get serious about it. I had to really, really think about what a debt elimination plan looks like. And are you really, really ready? Are you ready to eliminate this debt? So I put that plan together. I thought about it. I put it together. I focused on it. I prayed about it. I talked about it, and at last my actions align with my words. And so now they're in sync with one another. I've had some success in paying off my credit card debt. So I highly recommend that if you're ready, you have to be ready to get out of debt. You have to make sure that your words align with your actions. And sometimes you get to a point where you're just so tired that this is it. Like, it's like, this is the time. So I highly recommend that if you are ready to get out of credit card debt, that you first start with a debt elimination plan. And what that includes is what area of debt do you want to tackle? Is that credit card debt? Is that medical debt? Is that maybe student loan debt? Or perhaps it's some other sort of debt, maybe a car note that you want to get rid of, right? Just think about what it is that you want to tackle first with your debt elimination plan. Like, think about that first. And after you've decided which category you want to eliminate, focus on how that plan can be implemented. Like, how can you eliminate that debt, and what fashion can it happen? And think about a feasible plan, something that you know that you can achieve and obtain, that won't stress you out. Okay, so think about, how can I execute this plan? Why do I want to execute this plan? And can I execute this plan? And then set some hard deadlines for yourself. Set some deadline dates on when you're going to start to implement this debt elimination plan, and when do you want to see it come to an end. For me, I just simply want this, I want to be done with this in a year. That would land me at June of 2022. I told myself that I only want to be on this job for just about a year. That's it. I want to be able to eliminate my debt within a year. So we're into September now, and I'm on a good path, right? I'm on a good path. Now it's the hill is getting a little bit steep because now I'm moving into the larger balances of my credit card debt. The balances are getting bigger now that I paid off the little ones. Now these balances are they're bigger now. So I'm just the hill to climb. It's a steep hill now. I'm on a steep hill. Okay, but eventually I'm gonna be on top of the hill and it's gonna be over. So again, you guys, I highly recommend, if you're ready to get out of debt, you tired, okay, create a plan that is feasible. Focus on one category, one only. That's it, not two, just one, so that you won't be overwhelmed. And think about why you wanted to eliminate this particular category and how you're going to do it. Create a start date. And it's important that you create a finish date. It needs to be hard finish date. Now remember, you can adjust that date. That date can be adjusted, but you want to start off creating hard line dates. Okay, that's important, right? And if you, like, for an example, for me, it's in June of 2022, the end of June 2022. But that is my hard line date. But if I need additional time, I'm going to extend that time, right? Not too far out. The closer I get to this date, I'm going to be assessing. Actually, I do an assessment on a month-to-month basis on where I'm at with my credit card debt. But you want to be sure that you create some parameters and some dates, and that way you could kind of make sure that you stay within the boundaries of those dates and you're just not all over the place. But yes, that's how I did it. I created a debt elimination plan. I suggest and highly recommend that you do the same. And I just wanted to share that information with you guys. Any information that I get, I will share for sure, because sharing is caring. And I just want to make sure that, you know, my videos are able to reach somebody who is just as basic as I am, who has all this debt, you know, by making decisions that were not conducive to your lifestyle, okay? Living above your means and all that stuff. And you should not be doing that, which was unnecessary for me. And I'm still learning how not to do that. But I want this video and hope that this video reach someone who is interested in creating a debt elimination plan and just simply getting out of it. Sticking with the plan, staying focused on your goal, keeping your goal in front of you, creating hardline dates. And I tell you what, when you start to see the progress of paying off that first card, it's going to motivate you to continue the process of paying off the next card and the next card and the next card. And in my case, 13 or 14 of them. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I can't wait to listen to this video to see if the volume is good. Okay, so I hope you guys have an amazing day. And until next time, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Live Life Learn. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.